Tuesday regular. And yeah, we're just going to talk about the event, if his presentation went the way he wanted it to, and his daughter also was attended the event. So how you been, man? You caught up with all your work?
Man, I think what's happening, it's getting real busy. Soon as I got back, starting, gosh, on that Tuesday, it went good. I mean, this is good stuff for me. Our business is property management, and so we're picking up quite a few doors just in the last week. I've had three different investors call us, and it's been a little slow the last couple of months. So and then plus I'm doing builds. So I know this group knows that. And I've got lots of to-dos this next week. Plus I have kids. So baseball has started, the first games, just lots of good things happening.
Yes, Cody is mentioning we have a ghost member again that happened to us yesterday. I'm gonna test something real quick. Hopefully you don't bounce off. I'm gonna see if this fixes it. Hold on, real quick. There we go. All right, I
Oh,
got it back.
oh.
All right. So yes, definitely. And I saw you did have a discussion with Zuber, so we can dig into that also. But yeah, I thought so I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to watch your presentation because I got pulled upstairs to interview with Lumberjack at that time. So I think they knew I was gonna uh, heckle you with some
They were trying to
questions.
pull you off the floor so you wouldn't mess it all up.
But yeah, did you think it went the way you wanted to? Anything you would change? But how was it for you?
I thought my presentation, the way I thought about it, and maybe you knew this, and some of the audience, I've done presentations before, so this isn't the first time I've done it. And I was thinking through, what does the audience want from me? And so I had thought through that, and in my presentation, I wanted to give the initial why I'm pressing so hard and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I mentioned my father and watching him work all his life until the last days fighting for his life. He had worked hard all the way through into his early 70s. And when he blacked out, and I remember it like it was yesterday, he blacked out the week after Christmas that year, landed face first, and we knew something serious was wrong. We took him back and got the diagnosis of glioblastoma brain cancer, and he never walked again. He went home on a bed and never and was bedridden and declined so rapidly in those 2 months. It was just a hard time in my life and made me realize I need to press a little faster so that I could have time, whether however much God allows me to have. I want to be able to enjoy it. And so that put us, I was already at the beginning of the real estate journey, but it made me say, okay, I've got to press, not be so relaxed about it because I don't know. I want to get there in my 50s and be able to enjoy, maybe 20 to 30 years and not have worked all my life and never had a moment to enjoy, because I just watched his decline, which was a very glioblastoma brain cancer is a very aggressive brain cancer. They gave him a 6-week diagnosis. He lived for 8 or 10 weeks after that. It was very painful. I'm glad I know I'm sharing something off topic, but I read what glioblastoma brain cancer is. And I'm glad I did, because I saw some very ugly, horrible things that nobody should see of their parent. And my kids I didn't let them come in the last 3 weeks because it was extremely hard. And so that motivated me. I wanted to give the why and then the how. So I went into, mine was more of a little bit of a nuts and bolts from a big picture view.
Yeah, I think from my takeaway from what your interview with Zuber, you're also your daughter. I think she
Yes.
stayed, right? Because I think Cody folks were having their teenage
She did.
discussion. Yeah.
Because Cody was trying to figure it out too. We didn't know the exact plan, and even Zuber said that he wasn't. He wanted them coming, but he didn't make a structured plan for them. But next year he is. So my daughter and her friend Joey that we another family that came that supported me. They went up and talked to Cody and Ashley that first day, and so it was neat for them because they got to spend some one-on-one time with them. And Cody was asking them to dream and what they're wanting in the future, and so that was special time with Cody. And I want to say, Cody, if you're listening, it really meant a lot to Joey and to Bailey spending time with them, and we appreciate that.
I do see a lot of people saying, thanks for sharing, Brandon. Like Josh Burdick is saying, it's a powerful why. Losing a parent is a deep reality check. I lost my mom to cancer. And I think yeah, it's a great message, especially finding your why. And I think a lot of people too, even the health side was very eye opening for them after this event. So it seems like there's also a group of individuals that are maybe that have let their health slide a little bit the past few years and are putting that back in the forefront. And there's kind of a little group forming, I think, in the school community to kind of make it a challenge for next year. And
Yeah.
now everyone's egos are coming out for the push-up challenge next year. And now, yeah.
Well, I had prepared, and I guess because I knew I was presenting, I have been on a little bit of a health journey, and I still have more to go, but I've lost in the last year almost 20, between 25 and 30 pounds. So I've gotten healthy as far as losing weight. Now I need to spend more time in the gym, getting physically even stronger. My thing was, and I know some of y'all know the story, I had been part of uh, athletics at a high level, and I've still struggled with burnout. Now, almost 10 years later, I'm still so burnt out from my entire career. From I started sports when I was 3 years old, played college sports, went into triathlon, made Team USA, and finished my career at 40. So I spent more than 3 decades at a high level of exercise, and I'm struggling with motivation of why do I exercise? Because I used to do it for a specific performance reason, and I'm trying to work still to this day, working through working out just to be healthier because I've been groomed for 35, 40 years of doing it to athletically perform.
So, after your presentation, did you kind of feel like you hit your mark?
I think I accomplished what I wanted to. I was given a really good piece in when I was presenting, and I didn't feel any nervousness at all, truthfully. I mean, just genuinely. And it helped me read the room a little bit. And I had plans because I've done a lot of speaking and I'm trying to keep everybody's intention. And I was intentional, but also genuine of calling out who was it? Why am I drawing a blank right now? Brick by Brick Wealth. Um,
Casey.
Casey, her point that she made the day before, calling out Coach Carson, um, it brought the room back and kind of changed up what I was saying for just a second to re-engage. But I will say I was noticing quite a bit of engagement. I was seeing everybody's eyes. They were focused. You could tell they were paying attention. They were taking pictures of the slides. They were taking notes because I was trying to hit that audience. They wanted to hear what I was doing, and I was trying to bring enough detail without getting too thick in the weeds, enough big picture detail of metrics, because everybody knows that's my thing. I like to talk numbers, but not get too much into it. I was trying to hit that balance of giving some overview metrics, but also prove it out to Brian that, hey, I'm making money today.
Trade better makes a great point. He says focus on grip strength, if nothing else. Bad grip strength leads to the most 65 plus injuries and deaths. Cashflow Johnny, I see here, says I love the gym. I'm in there 5 days a week minimum. Yeah. So I think definitely, I think, like I said, I watched your video with Zuber kind of recapping. So it sounds like, I don't know if you're going to be like a presenter next year with Cody, but it sounds like the teenagers are going to be a big part of it again, right? And
Yes.
I think there's some things that you're hoping, like, like a whiteboard and things like. So are you already brainstorming for next year possibly?
Yeah, so I mean, I do present to that age group, and I hope he opens it up not just to late teens, but early 20s group, because I put them in a similar category. They're just beginning to live their life, a lot of them. And I've been able to speak to that audience, and it does sound like I'm going to be a part of that and really presenting to that group. And it's a more specific, designed for them day. It might be 2 days where they're one day down with all the other presenters, and one day that they're by themselves with their own presenters. And I think it's going to be very meaningful to them. And I have right here, and I know I showed y'all, but I have, the my daughter's perspective. I'm going to create a video. I talked to her just a few minutes ago. I literally just saw what she wrote this morning. I wished I'd have had a little bit of it for Zuber yesterday. I just got it today. She sent it to me. We're going to do an interview, I hope, this Saturday. So I talked to her this morning. I said, hey, please, I think the group would have loved it, of hearing from that age group what they learned.
Um, Aside from the event, I know you were kind of preparing her for Vegas. Uh,
Yes.
what was her takeaway of Vegas after, returning home?
We talked not a whole lot. She was, of course, a little shocked at what she saw. Where the stuff that we didn't want to go by too much was by the link, and y'all will know where they kind of pinhole you into a spot, and they take advantage of it. And so she was only down there once, maybe twice. Um, but I mean, it was good for her to at least see something. But we've raised her right, and she has high standards. So it wasn't like I was like Vegas vacation, worried about she was going to stay and join the join the group.
Well, you definitely kept her away from us, right? You're
Yeah,
making
I tried
trouble
my
out.
best to keep her away from you.
uh, so, so Cody Davis says your reason for sports and health should be to get the extra last minute moments with your kids in good health. I have seen 90-year-olds on deathbed and 90-year-olds walking outside with kids. Yep. That's
Yes.
funny. I just want to touch on something. So there actually was or he was a newscaster out in Hawaii. I think he's from the Northeast, but I think he was out here kind of with his dream job per se, and I guess he was adopted, I believe. So he has like parents that are in their 90s, and they needed care. So he left his dream job being in Hawaii, and he's back. And now I forgot what he started, a YouTube channel like recording with
Yeah.
his father, and they're kind of documenting the journey. But yeah, it's a very touching story. When I find the name, I'll put it in the chat. But to that point, right? When they get older, they definitely need some care and whatnot. But you being in good health also is very important, right? So, Stephen from the Bronx says Brannon could get remotivated into doing exercise by challenging Zuber to a push-up contest next year. I know Cody's on board with this. Yeah.
Well, here's the
Uh,
difference. There's two different sides to sports. There's those that are really good at strength, and those that have big engines. And where I'm at, I've always had a big engine as far as cardiovascular. So I was really good at long-term type of exercise, not necessarily strength. Strength's probably more my limiter. But when it comes to a heart engine, I've got a strong heart engine. I could run, when I was 40 years old, I could run almost a 440 mile at 40 years old.
yeah. I mean, I know you've mentioned that before, but I think a lot of people probably didn't
They don't
realize
believe
that.
me, but that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
truth.
yeah.
But that was
uh,
also, you know, I was at my fittest 160 and had an engine. I mean, that's how I made Team USA. You've got to have an engine like that.
Harrison says, Brandon, did you get a chance to watch Graham Stephan's Iced Coffee Hour with Chris Camillo? How are your kids preparing for the world of AI in business?
No, I haven't watched that. We were actually talking to my son just the other day. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, so I talked to them about those things. Yasik, you'd beat me. I know it. You'd beat me. But we're talking about starting up some careers, and it's not just college careers, it's trade careers. And I was talking to him about maybe, an electrician, an HVAC company, something that AI cannot take from you. And we were talking about some of those things where he goes, and I always talk to these kids, initially, you want to work to learn before you work to earn. It's not about the earnings, especially early. It's getting around good people that will train you, and it's more of a tradesman apprentice type of model. If and he's mechanically inclined, so I'm looking at each of my kids, and I'm looking at their natural gifting. My son is more mechanically inclined than I am. I'm more the numbers. He's good with those things, but he's definitely more mechanically inclined than I am, and I'm trying to give him some ideas of his natural talents. My daughters are different. My oldest daughter, which nobody met, she's actually working right now. Here she is about to turn 20. She got offered, she's working with a gold and silver backed IRA company, just started that a month ago. But how that came about, she was a nanny for the CEO of the company. And because she did so well and was so disciplined, that family came to her graduation party 2 years ago and said, "Your daughter has impressed us. She can talk with adults." She was well prepared and feels comfortable with adults, but she was also a hard worker. Even when she was taking care of the kids, she would clean the house. He was so impressed with her that he offered her, she's the youngest kid at that company, youngest young adult at that company. And he said she is impressing some of the other older adults because of her hard work and skills. So we're trying to train up our kids with what their natural giftings are.
Flavio is saying, I'm in my 40s, feel like 70. Uh, Yasik says, Brandon, I forgot to ask something after your presentation, which, by the way, was amazing. I believe it was going to be Bitcoin related.
Why don't you? I think somebody else needs to answer this than me on Bitcoin. Everybody's suffering on that the Bitcoin bet.
Yeah, I believe last night it got under 63,000. So I think what 50% off from its high, they said. But back to your presentation a little bit. If someone only took one action from your talk, what should it have been?
If they're wanting to get into build to rent, it's getting connected, networked with a builder that would fit what you're going to do. It's a smaller builder. These are not your. I don't think the opportunities for wealth growth and you making the number is buying one on the resale. I think you have more opportunity building it yourself. And most people don't have that skill. So it's hiring a good general contractor. It's finding a general contractor or a couple that you can interview that would fit where you're going and get them to believe in what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, and if people are in school, all the presentations are available in school now. I haven't got a chance to go through all of them. On that point, also, did you get a chance to watch the Dion and Brian Davila part one, part two videos yet?
I watched both of them and even made a comment in one of them, I believe, maybe both. But it's just interesting. I kept thinking of that statement, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. And he believes he can, and he's right.
Yeah, it was not as entertaining as I thought it was going to be, but it was definitely entertaining. And
I
but
was
I but
disappointed in just how he acted being a guest. I felt there was a little bit of, maybe it was intentional, but I thought I was expecting a little more respect. When you call somebody a fake and a liar, I take real offense to that because I do feel like Zuber is the exact opposite of that, trying to be as genuine as real and talk about good things, bad things. I think that was not right. And to be a guest invited, I just that was disappointing.
Well, and that doesn't make it any better. I think that one was supposed to be for his channel. Like I think so. The part one was the one that was going to be for Zuber or Dion's channel, and then I
Okay.
I believe Brian left and then came back and was, hey, can I do one for my channel? And I think that other video was supposed to
Interesting.
be. I
I didn't
think
know that.
yeah, but yeah, to your point too. I mean, he makes great points. I think the biggest thing though is like you're saying how he comes across about it and the kind
How
of
he
the
comes across does not sit well with
yeah,
me.
and just kind of the whininess about it and everything. But definitely, people are entrepreneurs and there's way to make money there. But just like his tone,
But
I
you
guess
know
you could
what,
say.
Mark? I'm an entrepreneur, and y'all know that. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't do those things. I don't act disrespectful. I understand the audience and I can see both sides. I'm an entrepreneur and don't kind of lord it over those that aren't. I see
No,
it from all sides. And maybe that's just a maturity thing because I don't think I'll be honest, he did not come across as a very mature person to me.
very true. Yeah, but like you're saying, I think and even Yasik is saying both are correct, somewhat in their message for kind of who they're targeting, right? So it's not so much he's wrong about some people are entrepreneurs and can make money that way. It's just his, like you're saying, it's just
Delivery, it's his
delivery,
delivery.
yeah, and tone and what, just like
That's
I
why
don't
I'm
know. I'll
saying
just say it.
it's an immature thing.
Yeah.
It's his delivery is immature.
Let's see. So did you get to see all the presentations for the most part? Was there any one that
I
stood out for
did,
you?
and I appreciate what Michael changed the date. I was balancing family things too. I had lots of things going on, and I stayed. I did not hear Pace Morby. My daughter and my wife were saying, "Hey, can we have some time too?" And I was trying to balance everything going on to try to be there as much as possible. But also, I had two families, friends that came for me, and I'm trying to balance everything else. I was doing my best to juggle lots of plates going on.
This question or this comment is from left field, but Nick Overman. Haven't seen you here before, but thanks for stopping by. He says, "Give me a quarterback like Sam Darnold." I believe he's talking about who's first one in the building and puts in the work over a quarterback like Lamar. I'm assuming he's saying Lamar Jackson that skips practices and meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced that in college. I was, for a period of time, I was the number two tennis player. And I had a guy that was number one. He did not practice well, and he had natural talent but none of the discipline talent, and it was very frustrating because I eventually got to be number one on the team, but I had to do it through hard work, determination, and focus. And I watched some guy with amazing natural talent but was lazy in his work habits, and I'll say long term it trained me for my career that those with focus and discipline can eventually come out ahead versus those with some natural talent that are lazy. And that's where I put Brian. I think he has some natural talent, but he has lazy discipline. That's why I'm trying to tie those two together. And I think that's what he has some natural talents, but I think he has lazy discipline and focus.
So you touched on the event a little bit. I know you've been there. You've been there all 3 years, right? I
All
know.
3 years.
So what's your takeaway and maybe the how the events are progressing and maybe changes that Zuber's been talking about? What's your
I
thoughts
think
on
the changes and what he talked about yesterday of having some people talk about their strategy, I think
that? Whoops, not sure where Brannon went. All right. Well, hopefully he gets back on. I know he was having issues before we went live. I think his router's acting up because it keeps bouncing him off. But let's see. Let me exit him off of this and hopefully he comes back on. All right.